I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2020 Mitchell County Hawk Show. Today we have Andy Plattner evaluating the hogs. Andy is from Lisbon, Iowa. He grew up on a family's hog farm, attended Hawkeye Community College and Iowa State University. He participated on both livestock judging teams competing all over the country. Now Andy is the owner and operator of Plattner Show Pigs, working with families from all over the country. Let's give Andy a nice round of applause for coming to the county here this morning.
Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to the Swine Show. We're here. That's the main thing. Let's go ahead and give all these kids a round of applause. Might be a small crowd, but we need to be mighty today for these kids. They worked hard. Obviously, we've overcome a lot of adversity to get here, and they definitely need some recognition. So again, you guys that are here, and we need you to go ahead and give as much support and effort as we can do for these kids, because it's very important. The young lady that happened to come in first, she's going to be the first gilt in this class. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for this young lady. The gray gilt pen one, you want to let her out? Yep. And then we'll kind of open up that gate so we just kind of make a nice fluid motion out here. Today, this is kind of the one that logically works her way to the top for me. I think this one offers as much show ring presence, a gilt that's really feminine about her head, a gilt that's really good in her lines, an extremely comfortable gilt out here. She's not over powerful in any area, but I think she just does a lot of things in a very nice package. Young lady does a nice job out here. Let's go ahead and give her a round of applause again for having her class winning gilt here. So we've got some litter-mate sisters here and a litter-mate pair of gilts. I think we've got two really nice gilts. For me, the young lady on the far side, or the gilt on the far side, she's going to be our second place. I think that one just offers just a little bit more in terms of power and stoutness, just overall bone. Compared to our class winner, maybe she's not as free in her movement, and maybe not quite as maternal, but we just love the power that one possesses. A very nice gilt there to go second. The young lady, her other pig, follows up and matches up with our second place. Maybe doesn't a touch better pattern, maybe just a little smoother, but to me she just gets a little bit more upright in her blade, just gets a little bit tighter, just her overall makeup, but another nice one there to go third. For fourth, it gets a little bit more challenging because we kind of have some give and take. The young lady in the seventh pen, she's going to go ahead and be fourth. You can just open up pen number 7. We'll let that young lady out. So So this one's going to go ahead and be fourth. Again, a gilt that's built really good in her climb. She's really fluid in her movement. A gilt, again, it's very good in terms of just being very maternal in her overall makeup. To me, she just lacks this overall width. Need to power her up ever so slightly. Young man right here, the Duroc, she's going to go ahead and fall to be fifth. A gilt that's really good just in terms of her productiveness. A gilt that's really dimensional, very thick. And a gilt that's relatively comfortable out here. To me, we just need to freshen this one up. Just give her just a shot more length and extension up front. Another good gilt to kind of go ahead and evaluate. Young lady on the far side, we're having a good time out here. Here's a gilt that's really good in terms of just being a long pattern, kind of a lead made gilt, but at the same time, maybe that kind of comes to her detriment. Just need to make her a little bit more productive in terms of her ribbon body. Just make her just a little bit more comfortable off her rear too. Young lady's doing a nice job with her gilt name spot. So let's go ahead and put our hands together for a good group of kids here.
First in that class with purple was exhibited by Elise Brown. Second with the blue, Carissa Blake. Third with the blue, Carissa Blake. Fourth in that class was with the blue was Anna Cook. Fifth, Devin Swenson with the blue. And sixth is Alexis Colbert with the blue. Our class here, number 2 of our commercial guilds. We have Devin Swenson, Lydia Cook, Raylyn Meitner, Jules Mayman, and Zaid Shell. After this class, we'll be picking the champion commercial guild. After the champion commercial guild, we'll have our first class of market barrels. You're on deck. Ethan Peterson with 2, Alexis Colbert, Taylor Swenson, Devin Swenson with 3, and Paige Mayman. You are on deck after the commercial guild champion.
Good morning. I just thought I would sit here for Audrey for a few minutes.
to evaluate. If we can, let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors. To me, we kind of work our way through this class. I think we've got a lot of quality. It goes extremely deep. We've got 5, and I think we've got 5 high-quality gilts that can offer us a lot of longevity and can offer us a lot of value in their future. To me, the one that kind of logically works her way to the top is the young lady in the green shirt. She's going to go ahead and be our class winner. So let's go ahead and put our hands together for that young lady. To me, this is the gilt that kind of represents maybe what you would consider a brute sow. She's extremely stout, extremely bold about her rib and body, extremely dimensional, kind of a logical place for me to kind of go ahead and start off this class. The young lady on the other side of the other blue gilt, she matches our class winner and probably offers some advantages over our class winner in terms of being polished shouldered, more extended for a front 1/3, and she's probably a longer spine gilt. To me, she's maybe not quite as opened up there when she drives right at me through her chest board. Just need to make her just a little softer in that rib and body, but that's an extremely high quality gilt that balances up extremely well. Kind of a logical place for me to go ahead and go use her for second. An awfully nice gilt. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for her. For third or fifth, I think it gets a little more challenging. The young lady with the vert for me is going to go ahead and be third. I think this one balances up extremely well. She's extremely good in terms of her comfortability out here. Her feet and legs are extremely good. Maybe compared to our class winner in our second place, just doesn't have the overall width and dimension, but I think a gilt that balances up well from the side. We really got to appreciate her for that. Young man in pen 9, she's going to go ahead and be fourth. Here's a gilt that's just extremely productive, extremely bold, and a gilt that's just really good just in terms of just her overall build and body shape. To me, maybe just lacks just the show ring appeal in terms of that front 1/3. Just need to crisp her up in her overall muscle, but that's a gilt that's just so functional, so productive. We got to like a lot of things about that. Young man coming out next with the belted gilt. Again, one that's really practical in her kind, one that's really dimensional, really bold about her rib and body. Here's the gilt, just again, need to make her just a little more attractive to that front 1/3. Just square her up from behind, but that's another high quality gilt to evaluate. Excellent class. Kids did an awesome job. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors. Representatives. We got the young lady on the blue gilt. Looks like I kind of like blue out here. I think these are the two best ones in terms of our class winners, and I think two that represent their classes extremely well. Young lady with the pink shirt, again, we talked about that one. Gilt that's just so youthful in her overall appearance, really fresh in her overall makeup. Kind of a nice gilt to go ahead and represent the lightweight commercial gilts. Then we got the young lady in the green shirt. A gilt in that particular drive, just so powerful, so massive. A gilt that still balances up relatively well. A gilt that's just really comfortable out here. To me, I think that's just another awfully nice gilt to represent the heavyweights. Young lady in the green shirt, she's going to go ahead and be our grand champion commercial gilt. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for that young lady. Again, we're kind of going with the theme of gray, but I think these are really high quality gilts. The young lady with the second place, we'll kind of talk that one again. Probably in that particular class, I think she probably offered some advantages over our class winner, but as we analyzed her, maybe not quite as offering as much width and dimension, but we still bring her out here. She's still a powerful gilt. She still balances up extremely well. She's comfortable. That's going to go ahead and be our reserve champion commercial gilt, the heavyweight. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors. Excellent job.
Champion commercial gilt was exhibited by Raylan Meitner, and and she has a chance to go to the Brit Show, North Central Showdown at Brit is coming Wednesday. So she chooses she can go to the North Central Showdown. Reserve was exhibited by Paige Mayman. So our first class of Market Barrows coming into the ring, their ending weight is 226, 250. We have Ethan Peterson with 2, Alexis Kobus, Taylor Swenson, Devin Swenson has 3, and Paige Mayman has 1.
we have our first class of market hogs. I think we've got a really nice class to evaluate. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors. And if you guys want to hoot and holler, you're welcome to do that. We're at a big show, so we'll do that next. I think we've got a nice pair that kind of go ahead and work our way to the top here. The young lady closest to me with the red belted barrel is going to go ahead and be our class winner, so let's go ahead and give her a round of applause. To me, this is the barrel that offers extremely good in terms of just his overall makeup. As we get on that one, we'd like to see him maybe just have just a touch more flex out of his hock, but when you get him out here, he's still comfortable, still takes an adequate stride, kind of a nice place to go ahead and lead off this class. The young man on the other side with the kind of the roan barrow, here's the power hog of the class. He's extremely short back in terms of just being bulky and extremely dimensional. To me, he maybe falls to second because he doesn't have quite the height at the point of his shoulder, maybe not quite the overall extension. But I think two extremely powerful barrows, just a few little slight differences, but I think a nice pair. So let's go ahead and give both of them a nice round of applause as they go ahead and exit the ring there. For third, it gets a little bit more challenging. The young man with the Duroc in pen 7, we'll go ahead and let him out. I think this is kind of the practical barrow here. He's kind of the most productive in terms of just his overall makeup. To me, he falls to third, just maybe not quite having as much power in terms of his foot and zone, maybe not quite as extended through his front 1/3 as our class winner, but kind of a logical place, a barrel that's really good in his overall structure, kind of a nice one to go third. Young man coming out here in the pen 5, he can go ahead and come out next for fourth. I think another one that's really good in terms of just being productive, a barrel that's grown extremely well, he's deep bodied. To me, maybe, again, doesn't have quite the overall extension, doesn't have the overall muscularity, but a nice barrel there to go fourth. We'll go ahead and let out the next two in pen 9. They're both going to actually come out. The young lady with the spot is going to go ahead and be fifth, and then the young man with the red one. I think both that offer a little bit more leanness in terms of what our previous ones in the class did. They're very good in terms of just their overall shape. Maybe just not quite as flexible off the rear too, maybe not quite as coordinated. Just going to stout them up there ever so slightly as well. Young lady here in the third will go ahead and be next. This one's really good in terms of the way this one's put together in terms of just width and power and overall dimension. Simply just need to fix that one off his rear too. Just has a little swelling in his hock. We can change that. We can definitely move him on up. Young lady rounding off the class has a Berkshire barrel. Extremely good in terms of just being comfortable out here. A barrel that's really good in terms of just his depth of body. He's functional. To me, just needs a little bit more width, a little bit more expression of muscle. Kids did an excellent job. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors.
He also received the purple. The rest were awarded blue ribbons. So third was Evan Swenson. Fourth was Devin Swenson. Fifth was Taylor Swenson. Sixth was Devin Swenson. 7 was Ethan Peterson. And 8th was Alexis Colwood. So we have 2 purples and the rest blues. In the ring now we have Raylan Meitner, Carissa Blake, Elise Brown, Carissa Blake, Taylor Swenson, Alexis Colwood, and John O'Donnell. And these barrels weigh from 251 to 265. On deck is class number 3, John O'Donnell, Carissa Blake, Paige Maiman, Raylan Meitner, Zaid Shell, and Connor Maiman. You are on deck, class 3.
Doing a good job out here. We're having fun, and that's the most important thing. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors. I know you guys don't have a purebred show, so when you show up with purebreds, it sometimes gives you kind of maybe a worse advantage, but I think we've got a pair of them here that worked their way to the top, and the young lady in the green shirt, she's going to go ahead and lead off this class with a purebred Berkshire. At least I'm assuming it is. Here's a barrel that I think out here is just extremely balanced, extremely comfortable out here. He's very fresh. He's not the heaviest muscle, he's not the heaviest bone, but I think kind of a logical place to start because I think he just kind of puts a lot of really nice things together. The young lady right here probably has the one that offers just a tick more in terms of his overall power. You get on the top side of this one, he's working an extremely big back, extremely dimensional, extremely thick. Compared to our class winner, probably doesn't balance up quite as well from the side, just gets a little bit shorter in his overall makeup, but still a powerful hog, a barrel that's still adequate in his movement. Maybe we'd like to make him a little freer, but I think that's still a very nice barrel there to go second. Young lady right here with the belted one is going to go ahead and be third. Just so you guys all know that the top three are all going to get purples. I think it's a very nice class. To me, probably it balances up as well as any in the class. Compared to our first two, probably doesn't have the overall width and dimension, but I think a very nice barrel. Just need to power him up, and he can definitely push our first and second in this particular drive. For fourth, I think it gets a little more challenging because I think the young man coming out here with the blue barrel, when he first initially walked in, this is the power hog of the drive. He's extremely wide coming and going. To me, another barrel that's very good is overall confirmation. I think a barrel that's very good just in terms of his length of body. I think we just need to fix this one on his running gear. Need to make him a little bit stronger in terms of his front pastures. Need to square him up from behind. But that's a very carcass-driven barrel. We like those things about it. The young ones in the pink are going to go ahead and follow up and be, I think it'll be fifth and sixth. You want to switch picks? Yeah, turn around. No, that's good. All right. So you got fifth and sixth. I think that the one right here, the chrome barrel, he's going to go ahead and be fifth. Initially, when this one drove in, he gave you a really good look in terms of his topside power. A barrel that's stout about his features. To me, maybe doesn't balance up quite as well. Gets a little bit coarser about his shoulder. Maybe not smooth, but a barrel that's very comfortable out here, and we like those things. The other one that follows up and be sixth. Another good one that's good in terms of his practicality. He's very functional, maybe not quite as shapely, and again, maybe not quite as fresh. Young lady rounding off the class with the predominantly black barrel that's very practical, very deep body, very smooth in his overall movement. Just need to shape him up. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors.
First with the purple was exhibited by Raylan Meitner. Second, also with the purple, Alexis Colbert. Third, Elise Brown, also with the purple. Fourth with the blue, John O'Donnell. Fifth with the blue. Fifth and sixth, exhibited by Krista Blake with the blue. Seventh with the blue was also exhibited by Taylor Swenson. Next in the ring is our Class 3 market barrels. Their ending weight is 266 to 282. In this class we have John O'Donnell, Carissa Blake, Paige Mayman, Raylan Meitner, Sage Shell, and Connor Mayman.
And the quality keeps getting better, and it's exciting because we're getting into some good ones. So let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors. I think we've kind of got a top pair, and again, we're going to do the top three are all going to get purples because I think the class is extremely high quality. But we've got depth throughout the whole class, and again, the kids are doing a phenomenal job. The young lady with the belted barrow, he's going to go ahead and lead off this class. I think this is the barrow that kind of represents what we're looking for in a market hog. A barrow that's really square coming and going. A barrow that's really good in terms of his muscle shape. He's very fresh, very youthful about his head. That's a very nice barrow to go ahead and evaluate for our top class winner here. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for this young lady. For second, I think it gets a little closer between second and third. The young lady with the gray one's going to go ahead and be second. Compared to our class winner, probably doesn't have quite the freshness in terms of just his overall front 1/3 and his overall top shape. But I think a barrow that's very comfortable out here. He's very sound on his feet and legs. Very good in terms of his muscle, in terms of just overall dimension. He's square coming and going, and again, I think very good in terms of his overall structure. Compared to our class winner, again, maybe just doesn't have quite the shape of muscle. Maybe not quite as fresh through that front 1/3. For the young man coming out here for third in the red belt, again, a purple winning barrow here. A barrow that's very productive, a barrow that's very sound in his overall makeup, a barrow that just probably needs a shot more in terms of just overall muscle, but I think that's a logical place to go ahead and evaluate for third. The young man with the spot barrow is going to go ahead and be fourth. Here's a barrow that's extremely bold about his overall body, a barrow that's very shapely in terms of just overall dimension of muscle. Compared to our first three, maybe not quite as youthful in terms of just that 1/3, maybe not quite as shapely, but a barrow that gets out and takes a long, adequate stride, and we like those things about it. For fourth, it gets a little bit closer because I think both barrows are extremely good in terms of their overall makeup. The young man right here is going to go ahead and be fourth. I think we need to make this one just a little bit wider compared to our first score, but I think a barrow that's very good to be called tall-shouldered, long-bodied, and he's very good in terms of his cut ability. To me, just need to make him a little bit wider, more productive in that rib and body, but that's a very nice bearer to go ahead and be in this position. The young lady rounding off the class, again, a bearer that's very lean in his overall composition, a bearer that's very good in terms of just his muscularity, just need to widen him out and stouten him up ever so slightly. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for another good class.
First in that class with the purple was exhibited by Raylyn Meitner. Second, also with the purple, exhibited by Paige Maiman. Third with the purple, Zay Shell. Fourth with the blue was John O'Donnell. Fifth with the blue, Connor Maiman. And sixth, also with the blue, was exhibited by Carissa Blake. Coming into the ring now is our Class 4 market barrels. We have Zay Shell with 2, Riley O'Donnell, Amelia Warrington, Zay Shell with the third one, and Elsa Warrington. These barrels weigh from 283 to 314. After this class, we'll be naming the champion market barrel. I will name first and second place winners of the market barrel classes. So Paige Maiman, Ethan Peterson, you're on deck, Class 1. Raylyn Meitner and Alexa Koba, you're on deck with Class 2. Class 3 was Raylyn Meitner and Paige Maiman. You are on deck after this class.
market division, but our market weight. But I think we still have some barrels that represent extremely well. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors. The young lady was hiding in the barn. She brought up this one, and I asked her where she's hiding. She said, just ready to rock and roll. So here we are. She's going to go ahead and be our class winner, the young lady in the pink shirt. I think that's kind of a logical place to start in this class. I think this barrel probably offers just a little bit more in terms of just width and dimension, just overall power. Now as we get on this one, we like to see them just a little bit more extended from blades forward, maybe just give them a little bit higher head carriage. But I think that's kind of a nice barrel to go ahead and lead off this heavyweight division. Young man right here is going to follow up and be second. I think this one has some advantages as far as being a little taller at the point of his shoulder, a little bit more extended from blades forward. But I think here's a barrel that, as you get on, maybe just not quite as opened up in terms of that rib and body. A barrel that's expressive in his muscle, just need to get a little bit more in terms of just width and dimension. For third, it's this young lady in the gray shirt coming out of Pen 1 here. And this is a barrel that matches up in terms of our second place as far as being a tall shouldered, long bodied barrel. But again, he just needs to have a little bit more in terms of just width and dimension. We just give him a little bit more in terms of just expression of muscle. A barrel that's very logical for being big bone, good pattern kind of a barrel. For fourth, we got the young man coming out next. Here's a barrel that's probably just as productive and good in terms of his overall movement compared to the others. Again, maybe not quite as fresh, maybe not quite as shapely in his muscle, but that's another nice barrel to go ahead and follow up and be fourth. Young man coming out with the black barrel is another really good one in terms of just being loose in its overall structure. A barrel that's really good in terms of the depth of body. Maybe not quite as fresh and youthful through that front 1/3. Just need to shape him up ever so slightly. Young lady coming up with the red belt, another good one in terms of just being extremely bold about his body, extremely dimensional and shapely with his muscle. Just need to make that one just a little bit leaner in his overall conformation. Another really good class. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors.
First in that class with the purple was exhibited by Elsa Warrington. Second, Riley O'Donnell, also with the purple. Third was Amelia Warrington with the purple. Fourth, fifth, and sixth with the blue was exhibited by Zaid Shell. Now we'll be bringing the class winners out for the Grand Champion Market Barrel. After the conclusion of the Grand Champion and Reserve Champion Market Barrel, we'll be moving into the Market Gilts Class 1. Ethan Peterson, Devin Swenson, Carissa Blake, Reese Brown, Connor Maiman, Taylor Swenson, John O'Donnell. You are on deck after the champions here. So out here vying for champion, we have Paige Maiman with a barrel weighing 250 pounds from Class 1 to Class 2. We have a barrel weighing 251 exhibited by Raylan Meitner. From our third class, we have Raylan Meitner with a barrel weighing 274. From our last class, we have Elsa Warrington with a barrel weighing 314.
exhibitors. We'll kind of talk them again. We've got our 4 class representatives. We got the young lady with the red belted barrel. Barrow, as we get out on this one, extremely youthful, extremely fresh about his back shape, extremely good just in terms of just his overall makeup. We got the young lady driving the heavyweight barrel. We kind of have the extreme on the opposite side. Here's a barrel that's pushing over that 300-pound range, but I think a barrel that's still good in terms of his overall conformation, a barrel that's still good in terms of just his overall leanness. As we get on this one, maybe not quite as fresh, and you're going to have that as you get at these heavier weights. We got the young man driving the Berkshire out here. He's just a professional showman out here helping out a friend. Here's a barrel that's really good in terms of his freshness. A barrel that's really good in terms of just being big body, really fresh about his overall makeup. But as we get on that one, probably not as lean as some of the others in here, probably not as stout in his overall features, but another really nice one to go ahead and evaluate for this champion drive here. Then we got the young lady driving the belted barrel, and we talked about in that class how this is what we're kind of looking for in terms of just a market hog that puts everything together. He's fresh, he's youthful, he's extremely square coming and going. I think a barrel that offers a tremendous amount of power, but yet is still a very attractive package. That's a really nice barrel. Young lady with the belted barrel is going to go ahead and be our grand champion barrel. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for this exhibitor right here. We bring the young man out here with the gray belted barrel, and we talked about in class how this one's extremely good in terms of just his overall makeup. He's extremely good in terms of his comfortability out here. He's really good in the angulation of his skeleton. And we get on top of this one, he's still big back. He's still really good in terms of his rib and body and his fill today. He's still dimensional in his muscle. Compared to our class winner and our champion, he wasn't quite as good in terms of that head and neck and his attractiveness. But a barrel that's out here that puts an awful lot of good things together. He's practical, he's productive. That's a really nice barrel. He's going to go ahead and be our second place or reserve overall. Congratulations to this young man.
Champion with the 274-pound barrel was exhibited by Raylan Meitner. And coming out of that class second was reserved, exhibited by Paige Mayman with the 273-pound barrel. Into the ring now, we have our first class of market gilts. Into the ring coming will be Ethan Peterson, Devin Swenson, Carissa Blake, Reese Brown, Connor Mayman, Taylor Swenson, John O'Donnell. Anna Peterson, Devin Swenson, Taylor Swenson, Elsa Warrington, Paige Neiman, Lydia Cook, Anna Peterson. You are on track.
Alright, so we're in the ring now. We're in our first class of market guilds. I think we've got a really nice class. The kids are doing an awesome job. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors. The young man out here that's going to lead off the class, the young man driving this kind of chromed up guild, she's going to go ahead and lead off the class. First thing I asked him, here's a young man that's all serious and all business, so I like to get people out of their element. So I asked him what his pig's name was, and he gave me a very disappointed, no, I don't have a name. So I said, guess what? We're going to name it. And, I kind of asked him some different questions, and we came down to the name Paige, and that's his sister's name. So, I named this pig after his sister. That'll go well, I guarantee it. She will not be mad. But I think we got a nice guild to go ahead and lead off this class. One that's very comfortable out here, one that balances up extremely well from the side. She's really good in terms of the angulation to her skeleton. She's not the most powerful one out here, but I think she's one that just puts an awful lot of good things together to go ahead and lead off our class. Young man coming out here next, kind of with the chromed up, or the other kind of calico guild. One that probably offers just a little bit more in terms of just muscularity. One that's really good in terms of just shape and muscle, and she's probably wider than our class winner. To me, she doesn't balance up quite as well. She's maybe not quite as athletic off her rear too, but I think that's a very nice guild to go ahead and follow up and be second. Both of them are going to go ahead and get the Purple Ribbon Award. The young man coming out here in pen 7, she's going to go ahead and follow up and be next. I think one that's very good in terms of just her overall width and dimension. A guild that's very muscular. Compared to our first two, maybe not quite as long off her hip, maybe not taking as adequate of a stride, maybe not quite as comfortable off her rear too. Possesses a lot of muscularity, a lot of shape and muscle to go ahead and follow up. For fourth, they get a little bit closer. The young man right here probably has the pounds light guild of the class, but I think this one still offers a lot of quality because she's one that's really good and square as she comes at you. She's really muscular. To me, just maybe falls out in terms of just that overall productiveness. We just need to make that one just a little bit softer in her cavity, but as you can see from the profile, she balances up well in terms of being tall-shouldered and really level out of her hip. We kind of go on the opposite side, in 10-5, we'll go ahead and let that one out next. This one's really good in terms of just her overall productiveness. She's really good in terms of just being big-bodied, really loose-making her overall structure. Compared to our previous ones, she maybe just doesn't have that design that we're looking for. She's just a little bit rounder in terms of her muscle. It's a little bit plainer in terms of that front 1/3, but we really got to appreciate her for being deep-bodied and comfortable out here. Young lady coming out next, she's going to follow up and go ahead and be 6, I believe. Here's one that offers some leanness and some cutability. Compared to our previous ones, maybe not quite as flexible and athletic off her rear too. Just want to free her up in those lower joints. But a guild that's really good in terms of just her overall muscularity. To round out the class, we got another really nice guild in terms of her overall leanness. But as we get on that one, she maybe suffering from an injury, just need to make her more comfortable, but that's still a very nice gilt. The young man does a nice job out here. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors.
First with the purple was exhibited by Connor Mayman. Second with the purple, Reese Brown. Third with the blue was John McDonald.
Okay.
Fourth was Devin Swenson with the blue. Fifth was exhibited by Taylor Swenson with the blue. Sixth, Carissa Blake with the blue. And seventh with Ethan Peterson with the blue.
Yep, no
Into
problem.
the ring now, we have gilts in 235, 247. We have Anna Peterson, Devin Swenson, Taylor Swenson, Elsa Warrington, Paige Mayman, Lydia Cook, and Anna Peterson. On deck is Class 3 market gilts, Devin Swenson, Amelia Warrington, Raylan Meitner, Anna Cook, Reese Brown, Zaid Shell. You are on deck in Class 3.
So in the ring now, we have our second class of market gilts, and I think we kind of have a logical place to start. Let's go ahead and put our hands together first for all these exhibitors. Young lady with the belted gilt. I think this is a gilt that kind of puts all the things we're looking for again. I think a gilt that's extremely balanced from the side. As you get on top of her, she's extremely fresh in her overall makeup. And I think a gilt that's just extremely good in terms of her structure. She gets out here, takes a really long, adequate stride. She's really good in terms of her muscularity. That's a nice gilt to go ahead and lead off this class. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for that young lady again. For second, the young man coming out here with the blue gilt, I think one that offers you a really good look from the side, a gilt that's really extended and extremely good in terms of just her lines. Where we want to get a little critical, she maybe just gets a little bit shorter and steeper out of her rump, maybe not quite as level out of her hip, but I think one that's really good in terms of just her overall leanness. We got the young lady with the red one. That one's going to go ahead and be third. Again, all three of these are going to get purple ribbons. I think this one offers some advantages over our second place in terms of being bigger bodied and just a little bit more of a dimensional gilt. To me, maybe just pushing a little bit more cover today, but that's still a very nice gilt to go third. The young lady coming out here in fifth with the Duroc, I think this one has some advantages in terms of being a tall shoulder, kind of a really elevated kind of a gilt that's extremely muscular, extremely muscular. To me, again, maybe not quite as bulky and maybe not quite as productive in terms of that ribbon body, but a gilt that's very good and a long, striding kind of a gilt. Young lady with the pink shirt coming out in 10-7. Here's one that's extremely good in terms of being kind of a shorter back, more of a dimensional kind of a gilt. But to me, she gets just a little bit shorter in her overall makeup. Maybe just doesn't take as long of a stride. Just need to freshen her up ever so slightly. The other Duroc out here, I think another one that matches up in terms of just offering some leanness and some cutability. Maybe not quite as athletic off her rear tube. Just need to fix her off her from her hop to ground. But I think a very nice one to go ahead and round up and be 7. The young lady coming out next, one that's extremely good in terms of just her productiveness. She's neat bodied. She's really shapely. Just need to freshen her up. Give her a shot of muscle. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for another really good class.
First in that class with purple was exhibited by Paige Maven. Second with the purple, Devin Swenson. Third with the purple also, Lydia Cook. Fourth with the blue, Anna Peterson. Fifth with the blue, Elsa Warrington. Sixth with the blue, Anna Peterson. And seventh also with the blue was exhibited by Taylor Swenson. Next into the ring is our Market Guild Class 3. They have an ending weight of 247 to 268. We will have Devin Swenson, Amelia Warrington, Raylyn Meitner, Anna Cook, Reese Brown, Zaid Shell.
Another really good class of market guilds. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors. As we get into these heavier classes, again, we're kind of getting the guilds that are a little bit more optimal in terms of their market range. I think a guild that's, as we get into these two, I think they're good in terms of just their overall width and dimension. They're extremely fresh. I think we've kind of, we've got a logical place to go ahead and go to sort their way to the top. We've got two of them here that are both going to get purple ribbons. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all these exhibitors. I think this particular pair, there's one that has an advantage in terms of just top side power, just overall muscularity, and that's the far side guild, the one, the kind of the calico guild. The more we get driving, here's a guild that's extremely good just in terms of a range of motion, a guild that's really good in terms of just her overall muscularity, a really fresh back guild, a nice one to kind of go ahead and follow, or to go ahead and lead off this class. Young man coming out here with the red belted guild, one that's really good in terms of being bulky and very shapely, in terms of just being big-bodied and really dimensional. As we get on her, maybe not quite as expressive in terms of her muscle, maybe not quite as fresh in terms of that front one third, but a guild that gets out and takes a long, adequate stride, very productive in her overall makeup. Young lady coming out here in pen 5, we're going to go ahead and let her out next. Here's one that really hit me as she came out because she's extremely big-footed, big boned, she's really square coming and going. As we get on that one and look at her from the side, that's where she, to me, falls into third place. Just need to see her a little bit longer out of her hip, level her out of her, out of her hocks to pins there. I think that's a good gilt. She's extremely dimensional. I just need to change her just in terms of her overall makeup. Young man coming out next up, the red gilt, probably has some class advantages because she's extremely muscular, really, really big back. And you get on top of this one will probably hang the heaviest muscle carcass in the whole drive. But as we get on this one, we just simply need to make her a little bit more comfortable. Just so you need to fix her out of her rear too there. Young lady on the far side, she's going to go ahead and follow up and be next. I think the Berkshire gilt's extremely practical. She's extremely sound. She's a deep-bodied gilt. She's really good just in terms of just her structure. As we get on that one, she just doesn't have quite the muscle characteristics that we're looking for, but we really like the overall comfortability. Young man coming out next with the black gilt. Again, another good one in terms of being productive. She's deep-bodied. She's really dimensional. Maybe not quite as fresh as what we've had in some of the previous placings, but I think a good gilt that's very deep-bodied, and that's just her overall productiveness. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for another really good class.
First in that class was exhibited by Raylan Meitner with the purple. Second, exhibited by Zaid Shell with the purple. Third was exhibited by Amelia Warrington with the blue. Fourth was Reese Brown with the blue. Fifth was Hannah Cook with the blue. Sixth was Devin Swenson also with the blue. So this is our last class of market gilts. They have an ending weight of 277 to 318. So we have Connor Maynard, Anna Peterson, Riley O'Donnell, Zaid Shell, Riley O'Donnell, and Lydia Cook. After this class, we'll be picking our champion market gilt. I will need first place from each class of the market gilts and the second place on deck. So I'm going to need Connor Maiman from Class 1. Reese Brown, you're on deck from Class 1. Paige Maiman from Class 2. Devin Swenson, you're on deck for Class 2. Class 3, I need Raylan Meitner. Zaid Shell, you're on deck. We have our last class of market gilts, and I think we've got an excellent pair here to kind of go ahead and work their way to the top. To me, I think the Belted gilt has the advantage in this drive. I think she's extremely good in terms of just the way she comes and goes with as much width and dimension. You get on the side, she still balances up extremely well, and you get on top of her, she's still extremely balanced, or she's still extremely good in terms of her muscle shape, extremely good just in terms of her overall movement. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for a nice class winner here. We really appreciate the Duroc gilt because here's one that's extremely big and extremely bold and extremely good just in terms of just her comfortability out here. As we compare her to her class winner, maybe not quite as fresh and youthful in terms of just her overall makeup, but I think one that's extremely good in terms of being very comfortable out here. Again, she's very big bodied, and I think one that's very comfortable in terms of just her structure. Another nice gilt to go ahead and follow up and be her second. Young man coming over here, 10-9, we can go ahead and let that one out next.
This one probably offers just a little bit more leanness compared to our Duroc, but I think maybe not quite as productive, and maybe just not quite as pulled apart from behind. If we can change that one, just give her just a little bit more shape out of her muscle, she definitely pushes our second place, but I think we just need to give her just a little bit more in terms of just overall width and dimension. Young lady coming out next with the Duroc, she's going to go ahead and be fourth. I think that's another really good one in terms of being very comfortable out here. She's really correct in the angulation to her skeleton. She's very deep bodied. As we compare her to some of the others, maybe not quite as width, maybe not quite the width and dimension that we need, but I think another one, very nice one that's comfortable out here. Young man coming out next in fifth is the black gilt. Very productive, very dimensional kind of a gilt. Maybe not quite as expressive in terms of her muscle. Maybe not quite as lean in terms of just makeup. Young man coming out with kind of the sixth spot here. Another good gilt in terms of just offering some leanness and cutability. Maybe not quite as fresh to that front 1/3. Maybe not quite as productive in that ribbon body. But you can see she's very comfortable out here as she sprints and runs around the ring. So let's go ahead and give her a round of applause for all these exhibitors.
First in that class with the purple was exhibited by Connor Mayman. Second also with the purple, Lydia Cook. Third with the blue, Riley O'Donnell. Fourth with the blue, Anna Peterson. Fifth with the blue was Zane Shell. And sixth with the blue was exhibited by Riley O'Connor. So in the ring right now, we are vying for Champion Market Gilt. Class 1, we have Connor Mayman with the 229-pound gilt. For our second class, we have Paige Mayman with the 245-pound gilt. For class 3, we have Raylan Meitner with the 252-pound gilt. For our last class, we have Connor Mayman with the 277-pound gilt. So these are the 4 gilts that are going for a Champion Market gilt. After this class of Champion and Reserve Market gilt, we will be naming the Grand Champion Market Hog. So we need Raylan Meitner's barrel and Paige Mayman's barrel.
We have our championship drive in our market gilt division. Extremely high quality gilts out here. Kids are doing an awesome job. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for all of them. It's not easy to get to any championship drive in any division at any county fair, and so when you do get here, you got to appreciate, you got to really enjoy it, because I think we've got 4 extremely high quality ones, and we'll kind of go ahead and talk them. We got the young man kind of spotting in here to help show. We talked about that one out of that first class. One that's just extremely balanced. This is probably the best one in terms of just her overall lines. She's very comfortable out here. This one's skeleton just extremely good. When we get on that one, you know, she still balances up. She's still fresh. I think that's one that's extremely high quality. Maybe as we critique her and we want to kind of maybe change her in a few areas, just want to stouten her up and just make her a little bit wider, but that's being very critical, but very high quality gilt. We got the young lady driving the Calico gilt out here, and this is probably the one that offers it just as much or more than any of the others in terms of just overall muscularity. This is the biggest back one in this particular drive, probably the most shapely. As we want to critique that one just a little bit, we'd like to see her just take a little bit longer, more athletic stride off her rear too, but that's still a very high quality gilt that offers you a tremendous look from the side. She's extremely stout and bulky about her whole, just her overall makeup. And we got the pair of gilts out here. We'll just kind of talk the heavyweight one. Here's one that's extremely stout about her skull, and she kind of carries that throughout her whole body. She's extremely bold about her blade, very dimensional about her ribbon body, very shapely in terms of her muscularity. She gets out here and she takes a long, adequate stride. I think she's very comfortable out here. That's a very high quality gilt. Then we got the young lady driving the other belted gilt, and one that matches up in terms of just power. She's just in a smaller package. Maybe not quite as shapely in terms of her back shape, but I think she still offers a tremendous amount of shape, tremendous amount of product. I think we've got 4 high quality gilts out here, but there's one that just does it just with a little bit more, and that's the young man right here with the heavyweight. She's going to go ahead and be our champion market gilt. Congratulations. So I bring the young lady out with the Duroc, and we talked about that particular drive. One that was just so good in terms of being very dimensional, very shapely in terms of just offering just a tremendous amount of width and power. As we want to get that one, we wanted to see her just maybe a tick wider, just more expressive in her muscle. But that's a very comfortable gilt out here. She's very good just in terms of just her overall productivity. As we get in here, there's a little bit closer, because I think the trio, the crossbreds here, I think offer extremely high quality pieces. I think there's one that just kind of does it, matches up with our class winner, and that's a young lady with the belted gilt. She's going to go ahead and follow up and be our reserve champion. Congratulations.
Grand Champion Market Gilt was exhibited by Connor Naiman. The Reserve Champion Gilt was exhibited by Paige Naiman. Market pens of 3, you're on deck. Market pens of 3. Anna Peterson, John O'Donnell, Krista Blake, Zaid Shell, Riley O'Donnell, you are on deck. So off the ring now, we have our champion barrel and our champion gilt.
So in the ring now, we have our champion market hog division. We've got our champion barrel. We've got our champion gilt. I think we've got 2 high quality specimens out here, 2 high quality kids. I don't care what county you're at. I think these 2 are extremely good and extremely competitive. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for both of these exhibitors. We'll kind of talk them again. We talked about how this barrel was extremely good in terms of just his overall youthfulness, a barrel that's very fresh, and a barrel that balances up extremely well. You get on the side, you study his angulation to a skeleton. I think that's a barrel that's very good, and I think a barrel that is so comfortable out here, so good in his lower joints, and a barrel that's extremely fresh and just very good in terms of just his overall makeup. We talked about the gilt. This one probably pushes it in terms of being stouter in terms of her foot, and probably stouter in terms of her skull. We get on top of her, she's extremely big back, and I think extremely dimensional. Maybe we want to critique this one and compare her to the barrel. Maybe doesn't balance up quite as well, because she wants to just kind of wrinkle in her hammer there. Maybe not as smooth there, but we get on top of her, we just love the power. I think we've got 2 different types out here, and I think we've got 2 high quality animals. I think there's one that's just extremely good in terms of his just balance. Proportions, and I think just extremely good in terms of just comfortability out here, and that's the young lady's barrel. He's going to be our grand champion. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for that young lady.
champion hog 2020 County Fair was exhibited by Raylan Eichner with her champion barrel. Now we're bringing the reserve barrel in. That barrel was exhibited by Paige.
We bring out that reserve barrel, and I think we talked about that one. Just extremely practical and extremely productive in terms of just his overall ribbon body. One that's very good in terms of just his flawless and structure. So comfortable out here. And you know, as we talked about that one in that drive, if we wanted to critique that one, just wanted to change him out of his head neck, just make him a little bit more attractive. But we still get on there, and he's still very good just in terms of just his overall makeup. He's very good in terms of just his overall power. I think there's another one that kind of pushed our champion extremely close, and that was the Gilt. She's going to follow up and be our reserve champion overall. Let's go ahead and give him a round of applause. Congratulations.
Reserve champion was the Champion Market Guild, exhibited by Connor Mayman. So we have 5 exhibitors exhibiting for Market Pen. We have Anna Peterson, John O'Donnell, Carissa Blake, Zaid Shell, and Riley O'Donnell. All exhibitors. Mitchell County Cattlemen's is offering all the exhibitors a free meal, so they are more than welcome to help themselves to a free meal. And other spectators can also have the meal for a low fee. We want to thank the Mitchell County Cattlemen's for doing that here. I think they're even doing beef. Chicken show was yesterday, I guess. Somebody said they wanted chicken, so that chicken show was yesterday.
Be careful. You ain't gonna have enough. They only got 40 pounds, yeah.
They know it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
We do have quite a few sponsors, and we want to say thank you to all these sponsors. Mitchell County Bankers sponsored Grand Champion Market Hog. Reserve Champion Market Hog was sponsored by Northern Country Co-op. Champion Pen of 3 hogs here is going to be done by the Mitchell County Bankers. Reserve Champion Pen of 3 is given by the Worth County Vet Service. Champion Senior Showman, Farmers Mutual Insurance. Champion Intermediate Showman, S&S Meats and Spirits. Champion Junior Swine Showman, Osage Veterinary Clinic. Champion Market Barrel by the Mitchell County Bankers. Champion Market Gilt, Mitchell County Bankers. The Champion Commercial Gilt is presented by Northern Country Co-op. The bankers are CUSB Bank, Osage, First Citizens Bank of Osage,
Taking the social
Home Trust
distancing to
and
heart,
Savings
you're up
Bank
there.
of Osage, St. Ansgar State Bank, and Ansgar. We want to thank all these sponsors. Let's give them a nice round of applause.
There are some upsides to this coronavirus. This fair is a lot less stressful.
So in the ring now we have our pen of 3, and we just got one class. We've got 5 sets of 3. I think we've we kind of got to prioritize, and we'll just kind of talk about this. Why is this pen of 3 important? And we want so we're kind of got to talk about this. We're not only trying to find 3 that match together in terms of their type and kind, in terms of just the way they grew and their evenness, and we kind of ask ourselves, why is that important? Try to keep them together, boys. So I think, we're trying to combine what we're looking for in the show ring, and we're also trying to combine that and what are we looking for in the commercial world and why that's important. And we're kind of looking for that because as the producer goes to the packer pays us more to have a range of pigs that are all similar in terms of their type and kind, just to kind of aid in the way that the packaging through the processing plant. So I think we've got 3 of them out here that work their way in terms of just their leanness and cutability. They're extremely good in terms of their market readiness. I think 3 that are very good in terms of their structure. As you can see, they were productive and they were good in the way that they got to the market weight the way they did. I think we've got a logical place to go ahead and start. These young men are going to go ahead and be our champion pen of 3. Let's go ahead and give a huge round of applause for these kids here. Second, it gets a little closer, but the 2 young men coming out of Pen 1, they'll go ahead and be our reserve champion. I think they push our champions extremely well because they're extremely uniform, they're extremely dimensional, extremely thick. Where they maybe don't have quite the quality as our champion, they maybe just aren't quite as hard in terms of their muscularity. Just want to firm them up, but those 3 fit together extremely well. They're extremely comfortable out here. They're extremely good in their structure, and they're very thick in their overall makeup. Very, very good pair there, or very good set of 3 there to go ahead and be a reserve champion. So let's go ahead and put our hands together for them as well. The young lady with the Durocs are going to be 3rd. I think these fit together as good as any in terms of their type and kind. There's maybe just a little bit more spread in terms of their weight range, but I think we really got to appreciate for their leanness and length of body. They're gonna go to the rail with a long carcass, maybe just not quite as powerful as what our 1st and 2nd are, but they're extremely good just in terms of just their overall makeup. The ladies in the pink on the far side, they're going to go ahead and be 4th. I think they fit together well in terms of just their overall build and makeup. Maybe not quite as fresh compared to our others, but I think extremely bulky and extremely dimensional in terms of their muscularity. I just need to see maybe just match up just a little bit better. To round off the class, we got the young lady. I think in their own right, I think they're all three very good in terms of their carcass value. We've got some that are maybe just a little bit bigger and more muscular. We have some that maybe just don't match up. But I think we've got three that fit together, or three that are very good in their individual right, just maybe not matching up as far as their uniformity. A really nice 10 to 3. Let's go ahead and give all these exhibitors another round of applause.
So our champion, the market pen of 3, was exhibited by Riley O'Donnell. Second and reserve grand champion market pen of 3 was exhibited by Zaid Shell. Third with the blue, Anna Peterson. Fourth with the blue was Carissa Blake. And fifth was John O'Donnell, also with the blue.